Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Blue Dragon 5 here.
And PerGron.
And we're back, talking The Penguin, episode 6, Gold Summit. So, PerGron, you're the recent panelist. How you feeling about the show and this episode?
Yeah, so I had to catch up, and I spent all day yesterday doing that. But I am absolutely loving the series so far.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I loved Matt Reeves' Batman movie. I think the Batman's probably my favorite live action Batman series story. So I'm very happy to be getting more of it because they won't drop the fucking movie, the sequel yet.
Well, a good movie takes time.
Yeah,
Plus, you saw the work they have to put into Bruce Wayne, so yeah, it's going to
that
take
is
some
true.
time.
That is true.
It's like the one drawback of that movie. It's a great movie. Bruce Wayne stinks in that movie. It's like the one problem.
That's fair. That's fair.
Coolest thing he does is save the kid, but that's essentially Batman in a suit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a I'm more of a Batman than Bruce Wayne guy anyway, so it didn't bother me for one movie, but I agree. They can't get two out
It
of
was
that.
noticeable. It was very noticeable.
Yeah, they can't get two out of that. They have to fix it.
Yeah. Anywho, yeah, there has not been a decline in quality. We're on episode 6. We got 2 left, and we haven't lost anything going forward. I haven't hit a lull. It's been like you'd think 5 is kind of a lull, but then we light Maroni's family on fire.
Right.
We're not losing a step here, kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's
It's been top
it's
tier storytelling. It's Sopranos without the linger time.
mhm.
That's kind of the shorthand for the Penguin. It's basically imagine all the great parts of the Sopranos, but just kind of like we just play the highlight reel.
Right.
That's not a dig against the Sopranos. It's just I get that Tony's unfaithful to his wife. I don't need to see that all the time. The
Right.
Sopranos, okay? I'm already screaming at the TV like, Tony, you idiot! Carmela Soprano is fantastic. Why are you cheating on her? Why? I mean, Edie Falco's a national treasure. It's why we gave her Nurse Jackie, darn you.
Well, 90% of the fun of watching The Sopranos is yelling at Tony Soprano, though.
That is true. But 90%. The other 10%
90%.
is what I just mentioned.
Right.
It's like, Tony, why? Okay.
but yeah, no, I totally agree. This is I feel like we've been lacking good like mob gangster media, and so it's nice to have it back.
Yeah, I mean, we've really been kind of doing more like gangland stuff in
Hmm.
recent years. I mean, cartels and gangs.
Right.
Like my 2 go-to examples in recent years. There's the Albuquerque verse between Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. It's very much the cartel,
Hmm.
and Good Girls. Basically is kind of the mom version of of Breaking Bad. That's a sense more so the gangs,
Right.
but yeah. Anyway. So, so we get breaking down the episode. So, we start the episode. Time has passed, which is a good move, I think. So we're not like just it's not
Right.
the jumps in time have been a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to see them start with 2 buckets. I'm glad that they just kind of they've got mushrooms now.
Yeah, so it's winter. Time has passed. What's really great is that Gotham is, especially the way we've depicted it in the Matt Reeves film. I keep wanting to say films, even though we haven't gotten the sequel yet. The way we've depicted and kind of maintained it here for the show is Gotham. It rains a lot, and
Hmm.
I've pointed this out before. Unique feather in the cap that Matt Reeves has that, with the exception of one scene in Batman Begins, never rains in cinematic live action Gotham.
Hmm. I did not know that.
Yeah, I should say, well, in a full on Batman movie, so I'm not counting BVS in that because BVS is technically a Superman sequel, but you know what I
Uh-huh.
mean. Like that's kind of the
It's also barely a movie, so
well that too. But you see my point though. I'm just saying it
yeah.
was so rare that we had rain in Gotham, which is always such a natural thing, and it rains all the time.
Yeah, that's interesting. I did not know that.
So I like that, taking that kind of that phenomenon in Gotham, and then applying like the bitter cold winters of Gotham City to that
Hmm.
is a really good idea, which we do get a lot of story mileage of here. So it's winter, time has passed. We went from two buckets to now the Penguin is basically on the precipice of an underground empire. He's got a good business going. He's the gangs are talking, and he's basically trying to consolidate the gangs into basically his own criminal enterprise that could rival the two mob factions, the two mobs in Gotham.
Yeah.
Which I guess now technically the mobs have kind of fused, but you know what I mean. Basically, the pre-existing mob force. He's basically using kind of an underground underdogs kind of gathering.
Hmm.
So Bliss, the mushroom, kind of the mushroom Arkham pacification drug, is on the streets. Penguin, we call sorry. Again, all of Penguin's power, interestingly, was stolen from the Falcons. If you really think about it, like all of his all the his kind of his underlings are people that he's basically paying himself. He's paying the other guys that grew up with him through the ranks of the Falcone crime family,
Hmm.
and that's where he's getting his strength from. Like the undervalued underdog, one could say.
Yeah. Yeah. They're all dudes that know him and trust him.
And I like Penguin's like philosophy. Like you basically you well, something along the lines of I eat when I eat, you guys eat. Essentially, is the idea. Like, when I get
Hmm.
paid, you get paid, and he's like, there's no hesitation, there's no delays. It's like like once if the operation happens, you guys you're not being having a game run on you.
Right. He's a working class hero. Really, is what he
Well, in a manner of speaking.
We all wish our boss was like that.
Yeah, we all wish our bosses would, like just for a teachable moment, like throw us in with the dead bodies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of it.
Yeah. Anyway, so Oz, he's flourished, but he does face the power issue, which we did see from the very get go that he's going to have generators in his base. Well, ideal for growing mushrooms, not so ideal in terms of his power needs.
Hmm. Yeah,
And in the winter, these generators are going to go. Like the generators aren't going to hold through the winter, being the idea.
right. Yeah, I like that they're taking what kind of my biggest issue. It's not even an issue. My biggest critique of the series so far is not how separate it feels from the Batman. So I like that we're finally at a point where it's like, no, the events of that movie are now affecting the goings on here. Because I don't need Batman to show up in every scene or anything, but like having a little bit of connective tissue, we had it here and there, but now that we're officially in, like, the seawall is broken, the water flooded, and now we're dealing with the repercussions. I
Well,
really like that we got there.
PerGron, we had that from the beginning, though.
Well, yeah, but like I like that we're in it now.
Well, we're calling out the reconstructive efforts for I think what
Right.
you're really circling there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really I love this, and I could be totally reading into this, but I like how symbolically you could read it as the cold is the cold is what's getting the penguin down in this episode. The fact is like it's a harsh winter in Gotham, and it's bringing out his animalistic strength. So basically, it's a force that is turning him into it's a cold force that's turning him into the penguin.
Hmm.
Again, reading into it, I know, but I'm just saying it's just coincidentally in our story, he's rising to kind of prominence, and while he's doing that, it happens to be really cold, and it's like in a sense we're getting him to kind of the iconography of the penguin, step
Right.
by
Right.
step. I mean, DeVito was really factored into the creation of this penguin in terms of like like how to what they were looking at cinematically at this time, and I have a feeling they did not really factor in the Gotham TV show at all. So it was primarily DeVito Penguin.
Hmm.
Not that that's a bad thing, but again, they found a really great kind of mixture of like, okay, how can we're gonna see. To me, the Penguin, when done right, is a character who, no matter what you do with him, visually, he strives for legitimacy, and we've ingrained that into this character, in that he wants to be legit, but it's just in a different kind of street level kind of vibe than we've ever done it before. like we've always played like it's like a deformity that prevents him from like a upper like kind of an upper crust kind of thing. But here, and while we do have the class separation, which we really use wonderfully in this episode when he's calling out the rich and everything,
Mhm.
but while that's there, again, it's primarily in kind of the criminal underworld. He's undervalued, underclassed, and he's an underboss.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't make it like, oh, he's physically disabled, so that means he can't be, be in charge.
yeah.
That
The only
that
reason for that is okay. So he's got like a gimmick, which is like the origin of the nickname. He walks like
right.
a penguin.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So also with our time jump here, Vic. Vic is Penguin's lieutenant at this point. He's moved up a little from Bagman. He's still working in the Bagman position, but he's very, very trusted. He's very much the right. He went from went from kind of the lackey to the right hand man.
Mhm.
He's very close. My favorite demonstration of this is that he's having essentially family breakfast and family dinner with the Cubs at the the Cobblepots for the for the diehards out there, for the for him and his mom.
Yeah, he's grown into a strong, not leader type, but definitely a strong like member
Confidant.
of the team. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing, like Penguin, you get the sense that Penguin does genuinely trust him. And the whole thing of this show is so Colin Farrell's been playing it like love it, like the thematic thing of the show they've been working with in the writers' room is that with the Penguin, love is all of his relationships are transactional. We started from that place with Vic, and you have to wonder: is it still transactional? Is there like a genuine bond there?
Right.
I'm leaning towards there's a genuine bond. At the very least, Oz sees things as genuine. Now, whether or not deep down they are actually genuine is the real question. Because again, his fear is that everything is transactional. He only gets as much as he gives,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I think for him, he does trust and enjoy Vic's company. I worry that by the end of the series, he's going to betray him if Vic doesn't die. I worry that he's going to end up framing him for everything and get him thrown out. But for right now, I think he does trust and like him a lot.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so the big we established this. It's a very big deal. The Penguin. So the reason the Penguin's been treating his guys so nicely, his henchmen, is that so long as they keep on the down low where they are, so long as things are quiet, they flourish. Again, because they're underestimated. So in keeping the base of operations secret, which is their biggest asset in growing the product, that's what protects them. That's what lets them flourish, and that's why he's keeping his guys well fed and fat and everything. Which does make you wonder: is he paying them out of like this is how I it's kind of like the golden rule: treat gold. It's kind of the golden rule of treat others the way you want to be treated. Like he's basically treating himself the way he would want to be treated, like he did with Vic and basically with these other henchmen.
Hmm.
Or is it that he knows, okay, if these guys, if they turncoat on me, the whole operation's done, so I got to make sure I keep them happy.
Right. Probably a bit of both.
And again, transactional relationships.
Mm.
Loyalty versus the transactional nature of that. So this is so I like so we I love how on the rewatch I really caught this how we contrast the cold of Crown Point, which is basically where they're all holed up at, which is in essence is like Park Row. It's essentially where it's kind of a lower part of town. I don't know if it's specifically it's supposed to be our Park Row version of Gotham. Park Row being where the Waynes were murdered, the crime alleys. That's what Park Row is. But
Hmm.
the point being, the lower end of Gotham, the Narrows, or if you want to look at the Nolan version of that.
Hmm.
So we have Crown Point, which is ice cold because all the power in that part of town is being diverted to the rich and hoity-toity, and we cut to the warmth of the now Gigante Manor.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that right now, they're all struggling out there, and Bruce Wayne's manor is very warm, and he's probably not even in it.
Exactly.
But yeah, I like that. I really do like
Well,
the
it's also warm because it's on fire, but
right.
yeah,
That's true. I really like that I really like how they do the class disparity kind of thing,
Mhm.
especially in a mob thing where
Well, it's all
it's
about corruption.
right. So it's nice to be like, yeah, no, this is a real issue that actually affects the real world, and here it is being represented by a dramatized version of it. I like that they're doing that. It
Meanwhile, Sophia, she's staying nice, cozy, and warm, not just through the fire.
no,
She's she's exploring some control issues with Doctor Rush in the
yep,
bedroom.
yeah, it's
It's an
she,
invigorating form of therapy. That's for sure. So here's the thing. It's funny. I kind of this was somewhat spoiled to me, somewhat. I read somewhere like in looking into Doctor Rush because there's all this speculation. Could Doctor Rush secretly be a Batman villain? Now, according to Matt Reeves, no, she's the original character. And, then again, would he tell us? So it's kind of.
right.
I mean, look, it's like some people are theorizing. Look, I don't want to entertain all the theories because it's just like that. Okay, because we've already talked through them, and it's just the thing of like at this point, it feels like the gold rule seems to be like we're going to introduce the major new Batman villain characters like in the movie, and then we kind of go from there. So if we have any, but then again, we've had like these mobster characters who really taken on kind of lives of their own. They've been introduced through the show, so it's hard to tell. We've had some low tier Batman villains kind of name dropped, like Magpie, but as you saw, Magpie did not last long, so
No, she did not.
it's unclear. Point being, Dr. Rush, I read that in like the description, all we really knew about him is pretty much what he's Doctor from Arkham, and he was like I think in relationships, like some wiki page somewhere it said lover, and well, we see that's kind of true.
Yeah, yeah. It gave me a little bit of a PG-13 flashback to The Boys season 4 earlier this year. I think I've seen too much bondage in my superhero media this year, and I could go without it for a little bit.
Yeah, good. Well, PG-13. What are you nuts?
Comparatively.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, sorry. Comparatively, I
Comparatively.
thought you meant like the boy scene from the boys is
Oh
PG-13.
no
Wait,
no no
what?
no no! This compared to The Boys
By the
is
way, I was gonna say real quick aside, we don't have to dwell on. I really hated. I hated all that stuff in the
yeah.
episode.
that was
That was seriously. It's a show where the boys can go as like as raunchy and crazy as it gets. But I gotta be honest, that was like the one time in the boys I really felt we've gone too
yeah
far.
yeah. This is too much. Do we have to assault Huey again?
Exactly. That was like the whole thing. Like it was like, yeah, that was very wrong, and it's just so weird. Like at this point, saying like, no, that was wrong. Like
right.
all the other stuff was fine, but that.
This was yeah
Anywho,
yeah. I'm glad we didn't get that with the Penguin. I
well,
don't
they
want to.
have, we've done other brutal stuff though. Like
Right. No,
we
I just
tied the
don't want to.
penguin to a chair naked. We almost sawed his arm off. That's pretty brutal.
Right, but I just don't want to see him have to fart in a cake. Is what I'm
Ah,
saying.
yeah, yes, PerGron, yes.
I would. I'm glad that they haven't done that.
They'll be like, hey, Sophia, look, I brought a peace offering. It's a piece of cake. Get it?
um.
Anyway,
Yeah. So she leaves. She has.
Doctor
Yeah.
Rush leaves, and she grabs a bite to eat with her new pal.
Yeah. Mr. Krabs.
Quite a cook, that that Sal Maroney.
I love when Clancy Brown shows up and stuff.
You know what I like to say when we have Clancy Brown in live action?
What's that?
Do a dance for the Clance. There he is.
There he is.
Seriously, I know I'm 100% with you. I love when Clancy Brown shows up. Honestly, period, just the animation or live
Yeah, that's
action. But
fair too.
it's a delightful treat because we're so used to him in animation. When he shows up in live action, it's like, yeah, there you go, Clancy Brown. You're
Yeah.
such a wonderful actor. You deserve this recognition. And he's in a Batman thing too, which is even better.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and he cooks. And
Yeah, this was so the idea again, it's ambiguous. You can read it any way you want. I'm sure a lot of people have different reads on it. Where I think primarily it's in a sense because we see here and we see in a scene later with Eve that Sophia definitely is kind of like longing for a family a family dynamic she didn't have. Like a loyalty and and they get a genuine love because you get this. They get the sense the difference between the Falcons and the Maronis were the Maronis were very much a they were a strong family because like think of it, there was like a married in like mob dynamic in the family.
Right.
Um, God, I'm blanking on the Persian. You had the Persian and basically the Persian mob married into the Italian mob. So that basically, in doing that, what they avoided was like having just two Italian mobs go up against each other. That's why they kind of did it that way. So we have kind of an infusion of something unique for Moroni. But importantly, with the marriage and the fusion of that, you had is like there was a relationship really founded in love and respect for the other partner in that relationship.
Hmm.
So you get the sense, and we saw that like in this scene, we see Moroni is torn up at the death of his wife and son, who he really loved.
Right. And you would not see that from the Falcons.
No, absolutely not. So that's what's interesting. So one could say, in a sense, she's looking at him in envy of like the love that he had for him. In a sense, she's kind of getting the father she never had potentially. And I bring it up because in Long Halloween, you had Sal Maroni and Sofia Gigante, Sofia Falcone. They were in a relationship,
Hmm.
like a secret relationship in that story.
Hmm.
And it you could again, my read on it is pretty much what we get here is that it's more kind of like maybe not father daughter, but it's just kind of like there's a respect for each other, and there's a bond there, and it's us taking an inkling from Long Halloween, and we've kind of adapted it in an interesting way that's not like verbatim like the like romantic relationship from that comic, but she is there in like a sexy nighty kind of thing, so I don't know.
Yeah.
People can read how they want. We have two
Right.
episodes to see if anything happens there. I think smart money is no, we're not going to do that. But we're doing freaky stuff with Doctor Rush in the other room. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that I could do freaky stuff with Clancy Brown in the other room. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, he was. She didn't know he was like in the kitchen.
That's true.
Like she was surprised to find him cooking in the kitchen.
I like that he knows what his son likes to eat too,
Mm-hmm.
like how he would make the meal specifically. Although, as a yogurt hater, I will stand on my soapbox and say nothing is better with yogurt in it.
PerGron, the man just lost his son. His son burned alive, and you're critiquing his
I'm gonna
yogurt preference.
he you can burn alive and still have bad takes on yogurt. Being burned alive does not absolve your terrible taste in yogurt.
I hope you liked having your pinkies, PerGron, because they're going to come for you.
If they're coming for me for yogurt, I lose those pinkies with pride.
What are Terry from Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Terry loves yogurt. Anyway, all right, let's see. So,
I
yeah,
also like that he basically made like ratatouille. Like it was pretty much like what was it? Like eggplants, tomatoes.
that sounds about right. Yeah.
So it's basically ratatouille.
Mm. All right, let's see. So Maroni expresses concern that Oz is like building an empire with local gangs, and if they all kind of go for it, then it's basically it'll be an all out. It'll be a more even war than they would have had to contend with. Right now, Oz is like under their foot. Like if they really like were able to find him, that's the thing. 'Cause he's hiding somewhere they can't find him, and he's using her drug against her, which is already kind of embarrassing for her.
Uh-huh.
And it's this it is a threat, but again, they're confident that okay, there's no way he's going to sell Zhao. Zhao was like Sophia's guy, and clearly, like that guy's not going to respect him, especially after a betrayal of like a classic mob family. So it's not going to no.
Mm.
So the point being that they're going to send a message, which ends up with them stringing up the dealers. Which one kind of a nice nod to her, like weaponizing her hangman lore, which of course she's not really the hangman, but everyone else thinks she is, so it might as well use it to her advantage.
Hmm.
Also, the pinky gesture, so Oz knows exactly that it's her.
Right. Yeah. That's that one's obvious.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the heartbreak. One of the big eye-catching scenes of the episode, heartbreaking scene with poor Francis. Frances Cobb, there, Penguin's mom. So we explore. So apparently she has like a misdiagnosed Parkinson's, which in reality is Lewy body dementia,
Hmm.
which Rob Williams had, by the way.
Did he?
Yeah, that was the thing. He was misdiagnosed. I think he was misdiagnosed. I think it was the same exact thing because that's the thing. So Lewy body dementia apparently is very reliably misdiagnosed as Parkinson's because Parkinson's people fall down a lot, which also kind of happens with Lewy body dementia. But Lewy body dementia essentially is like the brain isn't like connecting with the body and it's not functioning. It's similar to Parkinson's, only it's a lot more degenerative, if I understand it right.
Uh-huh.
Like Parkinson's is a thing. Like over the years, it's going to get worse. Like if you sadly, this wonderful documentary, the Michael J. Fox
Yeah,
movie,
the mic. Yeah. Yep.
where again you kind of see that basically from the 90s onward he basically had that kind of that prognosis, and we see him like today and it's like a thing where he's now at the age at which they warned him this kind of thing would happen, and he's like falling constantly. So yeah, it's bad, it's rough, and Lewy body dementia is no picnic either. And we kind of see that Frances, she's basically falling, and she fell in the tub, or she's unable to get out of the tub, and because of that, it's in the generators are going out. She's almost freezes to death in ice cold bath water. That's so that horrible.
Hmm.
And the penguin so gingerly helps his mother.
Yeah, that was a tough scene.
That scene really hit me hard. You know why?
What was that?
Well, recently I have a family member who took a tumble. I've been caring for them. Like recently, I'm talking like a week or so ago.
Oh, I'm
Not
sorry to hear
recently. So
that.
this yeah, it's been rough. And this scene kind of hit me hard with just like the struggles, and I know those moments of anguish. So yeah, it struck a chord, and it's like, oh man, that's what it feels like, right there. Anyway, so yeah, so she's basically saying if she ends up turned to a vegetable, she demands that uh, put her out of her misery.
Hmm.
It's very, very, very dark, and you feel sympathy for the penguin, which is the hat trick, or I should say the top hat trick of this show, in which it's like you have such a, again, it's the Tony Soprano equation, where he's doing such horrible things, and yet you like him and you're compelled by him. And again, this is what we need instead of like God knows how many villain-led movies that basically turn them into anti-heroes or don't let them be full villain or make them too
Right.
likable.
Yeah, they do a good job with all of the characters in this series.
Mm-hmm.
Like episode 4 really gets you on Sophia's side, at least
Mm-hmm.
to an extent. Um, the death of his kids and seeing, or his son, and seeing how it impacts him gets you on Sal Maroni's side a little bit. Obviously, Oz is the main character, so you're kind of going to be on his side automatically. But they do a good job. Um, like I enjoy that nobody is like they're all bad people, like objectively bad people, but none of them are like evil people. Like if that makes sense. Like from in a movie standpoint, like they're all bad, they're all villains, but you're kind of like I don't want to see any of these people die horribly while
Well, I
I
think we have like the line in the episode that I think Eve might have had it when she says like you see things in black and white, but it's actually gray,
right.
kind of a thing.
Yeah, like they're all well done enough that it's like I'm rooting for all of them while rooting for none of them.
Yep,
Except Vic. I'm rooting for Vic still.
we're all rooting for Vic. Speaking of which, so Vic's dealing with Squid. So you're probably wondering why is this character named Squid, right?
I am. I'm really wondering that.
I have a theory, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. I'm never sure about anything. This one feels like this is too specific to be. I mean, could be a coincidence, but these guys are Bat fans making this show, and at some point they had to have considered this. So in Batman the Animated Series, we have Sid the Squid, the Matt Frewer character from The Man Who Killed Batman,
Hmm.
who was a low level, he was a low level gangster who wanted to be a big shot. I would like to think this is Matt Reeves' kind of gritty update on Sid the Squid.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the
I'm not
character,
saying
but
it's verbatim. I'm not saying it's the same story. I'm just saying in terms of
right,
here.
like a little homage.
Yeah. Now here's the thing too. If you want to be all deep cuts about it, which I'm happy to be, Sid the Squid was like a pseudonym that was used in the criminal underworld. So even more so, just the idea that you had, like again, it was just like the Squid, for example. Like Sid the Squid was like Tony Zuko, the man who killed man who killed the Flying Graysons. One of his aliases was Sid the Squid.
Hmm.
There you go. Anyway, so let's see. At point, yeah. So Vic is dealing. So his old the guy from Crown Point is always kind of like this. So this is actually I don't know if you picked up on this, PerGron. I actually had it was spelled out to me. He was the guy they were gonna like sell the rims to, but he was trying to lift off the Penguin's car.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, so that's the thing. So like they were he and his Vic and his pals, the one who which got shot by the way, whose apartment they're staying in, which is even more twisted when you think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
That guy, they were stealing the rims off the Penguin's car to sell to Squid.
Hmm. Yeah, I knew he and Squid had like a background because of was it episode 3? But
Yeah.
I did not know he was the one they were selling the rims to.
Yep. Anyway, Squid is basically he knows something's going on. He calls Vic out. He thinks he can kind of steamroll on Vic, and he wants in. He's not taking no for an answer. And we have this great bit where I love that we have this scene where Oz. Well, basically, I love that Vic had an option to tell Oz, but he opted not to. Opted to take care of it himself. And he saw like Oz was like kind of busy and a lot was weighing on him, and he decided, I'm going to prove myself here. I'm going to take care of this. I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So Squid, we know. Okay, so Squid, we know he's gonna. Sorry, I'm looking for the words here. Here's the thing. Squid is doomed. We know he's doomed.
Right.
It's just the fact that he's already threatening Oz's mom. It's like maybe I'll go take it on the old lady. It's just like maybe I'll interrogate the old lady. It's like again, we know he's dead. 9 ways to Sunday, and there's look at Vic, and I love that Vic did everything reasonably he could to save this guy. When he said, "Look," he tried to give him some money to pay him off, and he could pay him off so he just keeps quiet, which is basically what Oz's move has been with all the other guys in the gang, but doesn't want to worry about this guy or have him murdered because he does. There's like some history with him.
Right.
He does everything reasonable to save him, and then he just won't listen to it. He won't take the money, and he just demands an audience with the boss. And this guy's bullied Vic. He's threatened the Penguin's mom. This guy's a goner. So I absolutely. I mean, where do you come down on? Do you support Vic killing this guy?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I think he was going to find himself in trouble bringing him to because I don't think Squid would keep his mouth shut
No.
about anything. Just based on that interaction he had, he definitely seemed like one of those guys. We all know those guys.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who like peaked in high school and they're just loud and boisterous. So I think he probably did the right thing in that situation. I don't think there was any world in which
He
he
was
could.
absolutely a liability.
Yeah, I don't think there was any way he could get away from that position with Squid still alive.
I agree.
I think he sealed his fate. I do, because now in the rules of screenwriting, he is now morally allowed to get comeuppance for what he's done. So I worry for him, but I think as a character, he did the right thing.
Yep. So I love. Poor Vic. He's traumatized by his first kill.
Mm-hmm.
Just very much Jesse Pinkman style from Breaking Bad. His first kill weighs on him a lot, and it's just plus it was such. I love how realistically brutal it was too, where he shoots him in the neck, and it's like it's a horrible way to go.
Yeah. He didn't just like it wasn't quick.
Nope.
He's coughing up blood. It was.
But it's really twisted and yet kind of sweet that Oz without him having to explain it, he just sees it in him. And he knows exactly what he's going through. He sees himself probably after his own first kill, and he tells him it gets easier in a way that he thinks is comforting him, which is actually kind of a chilling, like, you're a murderer now.
Right.
Yeah. And then I love that. So Vic's balancing this out with, he's looking for, he's kind of like stewing in his juices like the Penguin told him to do. But we have this really happy moment with Francis once the power comes back on. And he kind of sees, who he kind of saved in doing what he did, and kind of like, I don't know, kind of sees somewhat of like a glimmer of hope, which of course is soon going to be followed by something bad happening to him, I'm sure. But still,
Right, right.
that's the cosmic irony of like, maybe this is going to be and turn out to be good. Crowbar.
Yep.
All right, real quick before we get back to that, I just want to backtrack slightly here. I love the Penguin visiting. So the Penguin is kind of doing the job of a Batman in his own show here, where he's basically rooting out the corruption in his own way, or at least working it to his advantage.
Hmm.
Where he visits Councilman Haiti, and he basically calls him out, use like the pliers to force the guy to do his job. And here's what's wonderful about this moment: it's motivated where the Penguin literally needs to accumulate power to get the power back on to save his mother.
Hmm.
So it's literally why that's his drive right now, and he's not faltering at all here. So he addresses the problem. I love like we see the cops there and everything. He waits for the cops to leave. He's very smart and strategic about it, but really casual. And what's wonderful about it is that he gets to be Rex Calabrese in this moment,
Hmm.
because this is him like helping out the neighborhood in a sense. This is his big moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice little moment with him and his pliers.
It
Standing
also
up for the little guy. Again, working class hero.
Yeah, and again, like he's absolutely right about it. It's wrong with what
Hmm.
they're doing to like the most damaged part of the city. Because Crown Point, you
Right.
saw, literally was like physically impacted by the seawall coming down.
Right.
You know, it's also how we got to talk about this scene too. It was a really great scene early on when during the breakfast scene where Vic overstepped and he basically played into the Lewy body dementia, and he basically said, "No, your other son Jack is down there paying the bill. It's fine." And I love how that scene plays. I love that it does kind of bring her some comfort, but then Penguin was very again he sees this is bad, this is wrong, and he feels this is like an overstep of like you're bringing up his past. I think it bothers him maybe more than it bothers Francis, perhaps.
Right.
You don't do that. But I love that he's not like yelling and screaming. He just says like, "Hey, don't do that." I mean, it's like giving him like a genuine it's like a warning shot almost.
Right. Yeah, he's not like going out having an Oscar moment where he's just screaming
Yeah,
just to scream.
yeah. It's not a DiCaprio bid.
Right.
Yeah, it's like okay, so Leo, you want the Oscar this year, so you're gonna have to scream and
Right.
probably with a southern accent like you usually do. Okay.
All right, Farrell, you want the Emmy? Stand up and scream at this boy.
Yep.
I can't imagine. I mean, I'm sure you guys have addressed it. I haven't been on, so I want to address it. The fact that this is Colin Farrell, is still shocking to me.
I
Like,
still think it's a conspiracy. I think Colin
yeah,
Farrell's pretending to be this actor. We don't know who he is yet.
right.
No, I'm kidding.
Like since the movie came out, I'm like, that's not Colin Farrell. And the fact that I don't know how long it took them to film this series, but I imagine he was in the makeup chair for multiple months. I imagine, like every day for a while. So it's crazy to me that the show's this good, and he's like in the makeup. Like I feel like a lesser show would skimp on the makeup here and there for like darker scenes. They'd film the whole thing at night and it would be like just a prosthetic nose. But
Yeah. It's he does say, he here's the thing. A lot of people are asking like, is there gonna be a season two of the Penguin? I think they're kind of missing the point where it's not about a season two, we want a mini series here. Mini series,
right,
okay? As
right,
in it's like a movie told in like, it's like Roots, okay? It's a movie told in increments.
right. Yeah, not everything needs multiple seasons. Like season two's gonna be the Batman part two. Like
Yeah, I mean this is the thing, okay? Right now, with DC's doing it right now. I mean, at least so far. I mean, I don't. they've trimmed things down. I have a feeling they're kind of they're gonna backpedal on it, because originally we were gonna have like an Arkham show and a GCPD show. Now I have a feeling they're gonna actually try and do those, at the very least the Arkham show. I think they're gonna try that, but not as much in a rush as they were beforehand.
Hmm.
Again, right now this is the path you want to take. Okay, you have the movie, you have something supplemental that you don't need going into the sequel, but it does add a lot of character and depth and context.
Right.
Which again was the promise of the MCU shows. Which, oh yeah, you can watch WandaVision and not have to worry about it for Doctor Strange 2. Or no, you go into Doctor Strange 2. Who the heck are these kids?
Right.
I think you need that show, which was again it's a violation of what the promise of the Disney Plus shows were. Going to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I mean, there might be kind of like might be a bit of a little recap, but still, I think you want to know how Sam got a costume.
Right. Yeah. It'll like you're gonna be missing key plot elements.
Okay, you know
Well,
what? I just realized that's what I just laid out. That's not a good example, because you could just have him be Captain America after Endgame. Like, hey, we gave you the shield, and he's Captain America.
that's true.
So maybe scratch that example. But the WandaVision thing, I'm gonna stick by though.
Yeah. No. Like I imagine by the time this is over, if people don't watch it and they go into the Batman Part 2, they're not gonna miss anything.
It'll just be Colin Farrell with a lot of experience under his belt.
Right. It'll just be like, oh, well, Carmine Falcone died in the last movie,
Mm-hmm.
so the Penguin took over. That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I love the idea of a seasoned like crime boss Penguin. We see his rise, and there he is.
Right. And for the people who don't want to watch it, they don't have to, and the people who do are getting a pretty fucking great show.
All right, so let's dovetail back into Sophia. So while Oz is basically he's planned for the night. He's like, give everyone freebies to get the buzz going, defeat the bad press of like members of gangs are getting killed, and we're going to impress and consolidate with the triads and the gangs later, assuming this goes well. While
Hmm.
that's happening, you, you
Yeah,
okay?
something just fell off my fucking shelf.
Yeah.
No, we're good. Yeah, it's just I don't know what
Well,
that was.
that's unfortunately something shattered.
Oh, my cat's in here. That's what it is. Knocking shit down. Yeah, we're good.
That serves you right for having shelves and cats.
Right, yeah.
Anything you put on a shelf
The
should be
cat knocked
indestructible
over.
or nerfed or something.
Right. I think it's good. Yeah. It's
Like,
not broken.
anyway, come on, that's absolutely broken. What are you nuts? Did you have keys on a shelf?
No, I think it's a fake 3D printed animal skull, so it should be fine.
Fake 3D. Okay.
Yeah, not a real skull. All of those are behind the cabinet or
Yeah.
behind the glass.
Yeah. The animal skull from your Dahmer days.
Right.
Anyway, so Sophia pays Eve a visit, and I love that Eve kind of set her up here, because knowing that Sophia would be looking for, her crew's very loyal to her, but kind of makes it look like she's been sold out.
Hmm.
This is a really good scene between two really good characters here.
Yeah, I'm glad that we didn't see Sophia murder her. Like it was nice to have a conversation and then be like, no, I'm gonna turn you against him by revealing that he knew that,
Yep.
and he like planned to frame me when he knew it wasn't me.
It's also pretty nice that ultimately what saves Eve is that Eve kind of points out the whole, basically kind of reminds Sophia that your father killed these women, killed
Right.
like these street workers. So are you gonna kill another one? Are you gonna be like your father?
Right.
Anyway, so but I also again Sophia, I think she envies the loyalty and the sense of family with Eve's girls as well.
Hmm.
Let's see. Well, by the way, just because it's there, I believe she's the girl that sold her out, like in quotes, it didn't really sell her out. Um, I forget if it's Tara or not, but the girl sells her out. She does the cake stuff. Just to our earlier point.
Yeah. That's true.
Yep, I think Tech Knight's. I think we found Tech Knight's muse.
Yep. uh,
Anyway,
It's too much thinking about that episode.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so Eve sells Oz out. At the very least, I like that Eve doesn't like fully give it away, but Eve basically gives Sophia her shot. Like, you deserve your shot. At the very least, gives her like enough information like to discern something. For example, I don't think Eve knows that the Penguin is a mom. Do you?
No.
The other thing is, I don't think she. I think had she known, she might have hesitated at least a little more.
Hmm.
Also, real quick, did you notice that Sophia has platform shoes on?
Does she? I did not notice that.
Yeah, yeah, she's got these platform shoes. You know why she has those platform shoes on, don't you?
I don't.
She was super tall in the comics.
Oh, was she?
That thing, she was like a pretty much like a She-Hulk in the comics. I'm not joking. She was like the idea was that in comparison to so Alberto, he factored in really big in the Long Halloween. Alberto was like the son who was like undervalued, overlooked by the father.
Hmm.
Sophia was, you know, Sophia was much beloved by her father. Again, with reversal of fortunes, as you can probably tell in the adaptation here. But Long Halloween, the idea is like the son he always wanted was kind of his daughter, and that she's very kind of masculine in appearance. She's a loyal child. She's strong. She's does everything her father says and does right by him. Where Alberto challenges him. He's intellectual. He's kind of he has in the old Italian mindset being the idea being my daughter deserves this and could absolutely be in charge, but because she's a woman, I can't do that.
Right.
My son disappoints me, and I can't let him take over either because he won't stay in line, he won't listen.
It's funny how HBO has this show and House of the Dragon going at the same time, where both are very much about that.
Yeah. Anyway, so anyway, okay. Then we have the Gold Summit itself, the namesake of the episode. And this I love this idea. So we have like the Penguin has brought something big, and you're wondering, okay, is it going to be bliss? Is it going to be a weapon? Like, what is it going to be? And it's a cooler full of beers. So the Penguins gathered all the gangs to basically rally them and get them all to basically team up and form like kind of like basically their own mob, so they can take on the other mobs because their numbers dwarf theirs, at least right now, especially given that Maroni's and the Falcons have pretty much been decimated. Aside from like right now, the Gigantes have like the extended family and just kind of the extended operations, like the friends of the family. The family's gone, so it's a huge part of the operation is gone.
Hmm.
Like all the higher ups are gone right now. It's all grunts.
Right.
Yeah, like no lieutenants essentially. At least no main lieutenant. You get the idea.
Right. Right.
So right now it's like it's for the pickings, and they know that they never gave them the respect, and the Penguin just kind of rallies them and basically says, look, can't we just accept that we all hate each other and just work together, even though we may or may not backstab each other? Can we just get on the same page and just kind of team up to kind of take down the bigger force and then sort out afterwards? Is essentially what his pitch is.
Right.
And
And all
even
it took
convinces
was
his
some
biggest
beers.
critic, which is Yao.
Right. And all it took was some beers.
Yeah, I love the idea with the beers too, being that again it goes some like these cans, and when they're opening the cans, it's like their vote. It's like their aye,
Right.
or like raising their hands essentially.
Hmm.
That's great. Okay, and then we have our really tense cliffhanger where things, Vic is seemingly kind of cheered up a little bit. The power is back on. It's a nice ending, and Sophie's in the apartment
Hmm. With a crowbar.
with the crowbar, and the symbolism here being, Vic is kind of Penguin's Robin, this bird in the making, and he's about to get clipped.
Hmm.
I
Do you
don't
think
think I don't think he's actually going to get
you know?
killed, but then again, this show could surprise us and actually kill him off. Though the show, everyone's expendable.
Right. I feel like he's not going to be killed. I feel like the mom is.
Well, that's
That's
the thing, though.
that's my theory.
That is the question, though. So here's the thing. So Sophia was convinced, and we confirmed this earlier on. Sophia was convinced that the Penguin's mom was already dead. So this is a
Right.
surprise that we're seeing her there. This was not part of the plan.
Right.
Like she went there looking for Oz to kill him, and maybe Vic by proxy. So Vic might be might have been the original target here.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, seeing that the Penguin has a mom, so I'm sure she's going to be inquiring about that. It's a question of, is there sympathy because of what happened with her own mother, or is that going to be anger that Oz knew what happened to her mother?
Yeah, I feel like at this point there's no sympathy anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Everything is hinged so far in the show. We're going to be on the penult next week is the penultimate. You know what I mean? This coming
This guy,
episode is the
right?
penultimate. So, being the penultimate episode, we're going to ratchet up the tension. Do we ratchet up the tension? We kill the one thing that he has. Like Oz's imperative, his drive is, while his mother is coherent and somewhat cognizant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess cognizant, somewhat, you know, coherent. He wants her to be proud and basically wants the non-transactional kind of love to show itself there. She wants her to be proud of her boy, to put in Latin terms. That's all he wants. Okay, he wants her to be proud of him. Yep, just as the comments say there. Proud of her boy. So, but again, if she's going to take that, she's probably going to take that away from Oz, and he's going to be in a turn because like the one thing he says she keeps him good, and if that's the Penguin when he's good, imagine what's going to happen
Right.
when she's gone.
Yeah, it'll be. I feel like I feel like she goes this season. I don't see how she could make it out this season.
I suspect Maroney's a goner. I think he's going to die
Uh
by
huh.
the end of the show. The real question is Sophia and Vic are the real questions. Will they survive?
Right.
So, like that's the question. So, does Sophia make it to the movie? Because there's a lot of talk right now. Because she's obviously the standout, but I feel if they stick to their guns, Sophia has to die, and that's just them going to be the look. This is where we're drawing the line in the sand. She's got to die.
Hmm. I worry they're just gonna send her back to Arkham. I worry they're just gonna wrap it up the easy way.
I don't think she's going to go back to Arkham.
No.
I don't think. I think she'll. I think she just might be around. I don't think she'll. That's the thing. I don't. I That'd be it. Here's the thing, though. Even if she were sent back to Arkham, though, that would be. Well, now I'm thinking about it now. Yeah, that won't work because again, if we send her back to Arkham, the idea would be like she would be conferring with the other rogues now, and the other
Right.
rogues would be in quotes Joker and the Riddler and who else we might
Well,
have in the
yeah, but
wings.
she'd be in the woman section, so I don't think she'd be with them.
That's true.
But maybe she could be alongside. I don't know. This season feels like it's teasing. It could just be the mushroom thing, but it feels like Poison Ivy's being teased a
I
little
I
bit.
suggested that here's the thing. There were two suggestions I had with the mushroom thing. So there's poison ivy, clearly. But the guy who was growing the mushrooms, he seemed too much like a background extra to really be this character. That's what made me kind of hesitate.
Hmm.
Um, the guy's name was Bloom,
Mm,
and there was a Batman character in recent years. Again, I'll remind you, the Batman essentially adapts. We're obviously doing some No Man's Land stuff here, but essentially, what we're mainly adapting with the seawall coming down and the aftermath in the Batman, in the Penguin from the Batman, is Zero Year from Scott Snyder,
hmm.
where the Riddler caused a catastrophe that kind of created a 0 year for Gotham. Funny. But yes, that's the question. So Mr. Bloom was a character from Scott Snyder's run as well, who followed that story. So
Hmm.
possible,
Yeah.
not directly follow that story, but I'm saying he was like the story after that story.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's a something to consider, but the point being though, Ivy would be a cool thing to pay off, and we did also. I think we hinted at her too in with the little green, with the Riddler cards in the first movie.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see her in live action again and better. She's one of my. I mean, being the nature and animal guy, she's one of my favorite of Batman's robes.
Here's a real question for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If we kept Sophia around
Mm-hmm.
and she did not go to Arkham, what if Sophia's big, like her big like foray into, the Batman, to like her reintroduction, basically her reintroduction in a way that would serve the plot is we tie her we tie her into the Court of Owls.
Possible.
Now, what I mean by that, I don't mean just like she was a member of the Court of Owls the whole time. What
Right.
I
Right.
mean is
Right.
like she knew about the legend because of her, family status and everything. So she looks into it as like she needs an advantage. So she basically looks into the Court of Owls.
Right. Yeah, it's possible.
I'm just saying I could see the Batman if we did Court of Owls, we could have like a whole bird theme. You have the penguin, you have the
Right.
owls.
Yeah. Give us the Birdman.
Anyway, yeah, so that's where we end things off. It's a big cliffhanger. Who's gonna live, who's gonna die. It's not looking good for Francis.
No. I mean, what if it just ends up she like walks out and it's a fake out?
Nah, they're not gonna do that.
They better not. I don't think they
I think
will.
what's going to happen is it's going to be like Sophia doing her thing, where it's going to be a tense conversation, and then like inexplicably there's going to be a horrendous act of violence, and they're just
Yeah.
going to have to explain this, or he's going to be also beating himself but not dead.
Right. Yeah. I don't think he dies yet. Again, I still think he ends up being betrayed by the Penguin. That's just my ongoing theory. I feel like there's no way he comes out like scot free. And he's definitely I don't think he's gonna like I don't know that he's gonna bite it. I feel like he won't. But who knows? We got
Good
two more
question.
weeks. We got 2 more weeks to find out.
Yep. All right. So I want to thank the folks. I want to thank the folks for watching. Probably after the fact, we have
Right.
Teak in the comments. And yeah, so thanks for coming on, PerGron.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. That does it for Gold Summit. See you next time with episode 7, the penultimate episode of The Penguin.
Proud of my boy. I want her to be proud of my boy.